जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन
रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
Is my voice audible?
Your kartal is too audible.
Now what about my voice?
Then it will be all right.
Acha, or should I don't know. Because my
Without
wife just now told me that the
kartal.
voice is not audible.
Without kartal, it will be audible.
Okay, when I'm speaking now, is it audible?
Perfect.
Okay. यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन
रंजन
यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यमुना तीरवनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Ras Bihari Radha Ras Bihari Radhe.
Jai Radha Ras Bihari Radha Ras Bihari Radhe.
Jaya Radha Sham Sundar Radha Sham Sundar Radhe.
Jai Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe.
Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe.
Jaya Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe.
Jai Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe.
Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram.
Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jai Krishna Balaram.
Jaya Gopal Deva Gopal Deva Gopal Deva Jaya Gopal Deva.
Jai Gopal Deva, Jai Gopal Deva, Gopal Deva, Jai Gopal Deva.
Jaya Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi Jaya Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi.
Jai Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi, Jai Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi.
Jaya Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta.
Jai Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta Nitai Sachi Sutta.
Jaya Panduranga Vitthal Hari Hari Bol Panduranga Vitthal Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Panduranga Vithala Hari Hari Bol Panduranga Vithala Hari Hari Bol.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jai Tulsi Maharani Jai Tulsi Maharani Jai Tulsi Maharani Jai Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Shad Goswami Jaya Guru Parampara Shad Goswami Jaya Guru Parampara.
Jai Shad Goswami Jai Guru Parampara Jai Shad Goswami Jai Guru Parampara.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Shripad Gurudev Jaya Jaya Shripad.
जय जय गुरुदेव श्रीपाद, गुरुदेव श्रीपाद।
जय बोलो युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय।
जय।
पतित पावन शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। पतित पावन शिला गुरुदेव की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवतीर्नैष्टिकी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप गदामह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगना रघुनाथं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति स्वरूप दामोदर स्वामी इति नामिनि। नमस्सद्भक्तमनये मणिपुरोद्भवाय च प्रभुपादलसतवादी प्रचारिणी रताय ते। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिनि। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So we'll continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. The canto is Canto 6, Chapter 17, title Mother Parvati curses Chitraketu. So we will read and discuss upon text number 6 and 7. So first text number 6. Chitraketuruvacha एष लोक गुरु साक्षात् धर्मा वक्ता शरीरिणाम् आस्ते मुख्यः सभायं वै मिथुनी भूय भार्यया. Translation and purport. Excuse me. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Chitraketu said, Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the general populace, is the best of all living entities who have accepted material bodies. He enunciates the system of religion. Yet, how wonderful it is that he is embracing his wife Parvati in the midst of an assembly of great saintly persons. So we will also go to text 7 now, and then we shall discuss both the verses together. Text 7. Jatadhara stivra tapa brahmavadi sabhapati Ankikritya striyam chaste gatari prakrito yata. Lord Shiva, whose hair is matted on his head, has certainly undergone great austerities and penances. Indeed, he is the president in the assembly of strict followers of Vedic principles. Nonetheless, he is seated with his wife on his lap in the midst of saintly persons and is embracing her as if he were a shameless, ordinary human being. Purport. Chitraketu appreciated the exalted position of Lord Shiva, and therefore he remarked at how wonderful it was that Lord Shiva was acting like an ordinary human being. He appreciated Lord Shiva's position, but when he saw Lord Shiva sitting in the midst of saintly persons and acting like a shameless ordinary man, he was astonished. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura remarks that although Chitraketu criticized Lord Shiva, he did not offend Lord Shiva like Daksha. Daksha considered Lord Shiva insignificant, but Chitraketu expressed his wonder at Lord Shiva's being situated in that way. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadaliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaye Namo Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayete girim yat kripatam aham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinim Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So first of all, I want to thank BI Kolkata and in particularly His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Govind Madhav Maharaj for instructing me to speak on today's class, to share my thoughts on these two verses, that is 6 and 7. I personally feel that I am not qualified enough to really share my thoughts and knowledge to such a distinguished and elevated assembly of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, but the instruction given by Maharaj will be taken by me as an order, and I will try to do within my best abilities and capabilities, I will try to serve all of you. However, I would request you to kindly be considerate to me in case if I make any mistake, or in case if I am not presenting it properly, then kindly forgive me and also pray and bless me so that I am able to serve better next time. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. So let us quickly do a quick recap. It's always good to do a recap session so that all of us are calibrated on the same page. So we are going through the life sketch or the life journey of King Chitraketu in his spiritual journey, and in this connection it will be very easy to understand for us what is the sequence of events that have taken place. So King Chitraketu, we know, ruled the entire planet, and he was having more than 10 million wives. So he was ruling and he was doing an excellent good job for the entire planet. So one day, suddenly, our Angiramuni or Angiri Rishi came to inquire about his well-being. So as he was passing by, he asked, "Hey Chitraketu, how are you doing? What about your subjects? Are they all happy?" So Chitraketu expressed that everything is fine. There is no COVID here so far, and I am managing the planet quite well. But I have only one, regret or one strong desire, because of which it is, creating some sort of a burning feeling in my mind. Oh, what is that, Chitraketu? Angira asked. So Chitraketu said that I have no progeny. There is nobody, even though I've got 10 million wives, all beautiful wives, but somehow I'm not having any son to take my legacy forward. So if you can kindly bless me, I shall be very, very grateful. So looking at the very, deep desire of King Chitraketu, Angira Muni, he did a yagya, and from the yagya, he obtained the Mahaprasad in the form of a kheer, and he told him that you can now distribute this to your, most beloved of all the 10 million wives, and you can surely obtain. But he also warned that no doubt you will become a father, no doubt your wife will give birth to a son, but this son is going to be the cause of harsha and shoka. So this is a simile of two opposite emotions, harsha and shoka. So harsha means it will be a cause of jubilation, shoka means it's a cause of distress or sorrow or lamentation. So Chitraketu ignored that part because he was actually very elated that the blessing would result him into becoming a father. So he gave the key to his most beloved first wife, and then subsequently she delivered a nice son, and the son slowly was growing. But as luck would have it, the other wives felt that the king was now ignoring them because of more attachment towards the son, and through the son to this particular wife or the queen. So as a result, they made a plan that we need to eliminate this boy, this son, so that the king will once again give us his attention. And as a result, they administered poison to the boy, little boy. And as luck would have it, the boy passed away. Now when that happened, King Chitraketu was in deep distress. That is, the shoka overtook him, and then he was crying, and the crying was so much that it was heard in virtually in all the three planetary systems. So then Angiri Muni came back to him and he said, "What happened? I told you, I pre-warned you, but you did not listen to me." But he was inconsolable. So looking at his situation, Angiri Muni then requested Narada to kindly, advent and then give some piece of advice to King Chitraketu. So Narada came, and then again looking at Chitraketu's condition, Narada through his mystic power once again invoked the dead body, and then he once again put the soul back into the body, and the son was brought back into life. So Chitraketu was very happy looking at his son once again like a second birth. But this time what happened was, the son, when he got up, he could not recognize his parents, because when Narada Muni told him, "Look, my dear child, your parents are crying for you, and please go and embrace them, or look at them." So then the boy, he spoke words of wisdom. He actually spoke in the soul platform. He actually gave the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. He said, "Which parents are you referring to, hey Narada? I have gone through a species of aquatics, plants, animals, beasts, birds, different forms of human lives, and in each life I have had a set of parents. So which particular life parent are you referring to?" So when he asked this question, immediately Chitraketu got a message, and he understood that this is the real knowledge that he is giving me now. And saying this, the sun once again left his body. So now, once the knowledge was obtained, but still King Chitraketu felt a big vacuum, and as a result, Narad Muni took charge of his life after that. And so that means this life, if you see Chitraketu's lifestyle, it's a combination of anticlimax and climax. So anticlimax already happened in the form of the son being born and then again losing him. Now slowly we'll come to the climax point, because there has to be some nice, like just like any other nice story, something interesting, spicy, climax, anticlimax, to make us completely absorbed to it. So this brought to a situation where Narada said, you please take yourself, go to the Yamuna river, take bath, and then I'll give you a mantra. Now forget all this family life and materialistic life, forget it. You are way beyond that, you have got the knowledge now from your son. I'll give you a mantra, you just utter that mantra for 7 days, and then you will see Sakshat Darshan of Lord Vishnu. So the sincerity of King Chitraketu made him utter the mantra very sincerely, and as a result, after the 7 days, he actually got the darshan of Lord Anantasesha, okay, who came, the expansion of Lord Vishnu, who came and given. And Lord Anantasesha came in a very nice and opulent form, full white body, full white form, with nice blue garments over him, and he gave him nice darshan, and King Chitraketu did not have any words to even reciprocate, but the Lord understood his sincere desire. He is a sincere devotee, and now based on that, the Lord blessed him. So the blessings was that he said, you are liberated, you come with me and I will take you to different places. So with that blessing, Chitraketu got the complete independent in charge of the Vidyadhara planet. So he became the king of the Vidyadharas, and along with that, Anantasesh Lord also gave him a nice Viman. This Viman was nice white color, and the beauty was that because he had empowered Chitraketu with all the mystic powers, Chitraketu could travel anywhere. So if he wanted, he could go to Swargalok, if he wanted to go to Maharlok, Tapalok, any lok, he could just go. But as he was going, he will only utter Lord's glories. So he was doing that beautifully, along with all the beautiful Vidyadhar queens around him, with nothing, no lust, nothing, but it was a pure glorification of the Lord. So we come to the point now of the climax. So we did the complete recap so that we are on the same page. Now we come to the climax, that is, we are coming to the verse which we are discussing today. So in this verse, on one particular time, when King Chitraketu is traveling in space, and as he looks down below, what he sees is that Lord Shiva is giving Gyan to a big assembly of exalted sages. Okay, and so initially Chitraketu is quite impressed, because he is expected of Lord Shiva. But simultaneously, what he saw was that he saw his Lord Shiva's consort, that is Parvati Devi or Mother Parvati, is seated not on a separate throne, but on the lap of Lord Shiva. And further, the way she was seated and the way Lord Shiva was embracing her, that put certain thoughts in the mind of Chitraketu. So this is the climax I am coming to. And because of this climax, Chitraketu uttered some statements, and as a result he also laughed loudly, which was heard in the entire Sabha of all the sages, including Mother Parvati. So basically, now as he was seeing this sort of unusual darshan, the thoughts or the words that came out of Chitraketu's mouth were, how could Lord Shiva do this? How could he be sitting in an embracing position with Parvati, Mother Parvati, in front of everyone. Okay, and this is despite Lord Shiva being, he has used the word Sakshat Lokaguru. So Sakshat Lokaguru, that means he's already a guru, but he's Sakshat, that means direct. He's a direct guru. How could he do that? And also he's mentioned word like he's Sabaya Mukhya Sabaya. That means in the entire assembly, he is a chief. So normally somebody who is a chief or is a president, he is supposed to be like a leader, and others are supposed to follow him. So as a Sabaya Mukhya, how could Lord Shiva do this? And that also he says Mithuni Bhuya. So Mithuni Bhuya is a terminology of embracing. Now Mithuni Bhuya is actually very common among husband and wife, but in a secluded place. In the material world, we see that, in fact, in the present generation, I travel all around the world for my work. When I go to the Western world, this Mithuni Bhuya is not in secluded place, but it's out in open. You can see, lovers or husband wives embracing in the train, in the bus stations, or in the public places like garden. In India, still it is a taboo, or at least we can say we are preserving our culture. It is, if at all, this experience is done in the secluded place. But here, Chitraketu feels that this is not appropriate for Lord Shiva to do that and in that particular way. So how could he do that? So now we come to the point of asking a very real and pertinent question, which will be the point of the next 15 minutes of discussion. And the point is, I'm going to ask question: is it fair on Chitraketu's part to think in this manner? That is, to think that about Lord Shiva in this particular manner. Is he right in his thinking? If yes, why? And if he is not right, if no, why? So these are the two possibilities. We can think on either side, and then we shall discuss further. So let us first say, we will take for a moment the side of Chitraketu. That means we will think that he has not done any offense. Now, in Bhagavad Gita 3.21, it is said that Yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tat eva taro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. So what does this mean? This means that whatever action a great man performs, okay, a common man follows or tries to imitate, okay, and whatever standards the great man sets through his exemplary acts, the common man or the entire world pursues. So Chitraketu is right. Now here we have a great personality of like Lord Shiva. So Chitraketu's concern is, if Lord Shiva is doing this, what about the people who are in the Sabha? What message is he giving? Okay, and all the more we can say in defense of Chitraketu that he is not offending, because he used some very nice explicitives for Lord Shiva. He is using the word like, in the next verse, he is used Dharman Vakta. So Dharman Vakta is somebody, okay, the same verse, in the verse he said Dharman Vakta. So Dharman Vakta is somebody who is supposed to be an ultimate speaker of religion. So how could a speaker of religion do this act? Then he's used the word he's also used the word Tivra Tapaha. Okay, Tivra Tapaha. So Tivra Tapaha means somebody who is in deep austerity or penances. So somebody who is in deep austerity penance must be a very elevated soul. So how can Lord Shiva in that position do it? So again, Chitraketu seems to be right. Then he is using the word Brahmavadi. So Brahmavadi means somebody who is a strict follower. Somebody who is a strict follower of Vedic principles. So somebody who is a strict follower of Vedic principle is supposed to set by examples. Then he is using the word Sabhapatihi. Sabhapati means the chief of the assembly. So as a chief, we are supposed to set proper examples and proper standards. Now to the defense of again to Chitraketu that this is not an offense. We take the interpretation from our Acharya, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the purport, Srila Prabhupada's purport, explains that there's a big difference between Chitraketu's act and, for example, let's say Daksha Prajapati's act. Okay, now Daksha Prajapati's act is considered to be offensive in that sense, but Chitraketu's act is considered to be more like a astonishment. Okay, more like something is expressing his wonder that, you know, out of his feelings for Lord Shiva. Actually, it's a glorification, but it's expressing in this manner. How could you do it? You are a great soul. Whereas Daksha Prajapati, actually, he directly offended the Lord. He directly criticized the Lord. He insulted the Lord in the complete assembly by calling him, you are a monkey-eyed person. Okay, and you are marrying my daughter who has got deer-eyed. And then many more things he uttered. And this kind of utterance comes out of anger and out of enviousness. So that is very offensive. And further to the defense of Chitraketu, we can think this way also. Now, in the case of Daksha Prajapati, Lord Shiva felt very bad. He felt insulted. But did he react in the same way when Chitraketu uttered this? No. So what this means is that even the assembled sages did not take any offense. Now, for example, let's say somebody insults our Guru Maharaj, and the Guru Maharaj is very, cool, and he takes it in a, but we as disciples will be agitated. We will either try to chastise the person who is offending the Guru Maharaj, or we don't want to hear that, so we try to leave the place. So in this place, as it is explained, that the sages did not leave the place. They were actually sitting there, and they were in the same sync with Lord Shiva. Otherwise, if they felt offended, they would have ran, closing their ears with Shiva, 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 and they would have ran. They didn't do that. So this explains to some extent or supports Chitraketu's behavior. But now we'll examine the other part, the other side. Was it really right for him to do? And let's say if it is not right, why it is not right? The first reason, dear devotees, it is the biggest Vaishnava aparad. Why it is a Vaishnava aparad? Because Lord Shiva is called Vaishnavanam Yata Shambho. So what is the symptom of the topmost Vaishnava? Topmost Vaishnava is always compassionate. And didn't Lord Shiva demonstrate his compassionate quality? Where did he demonstrate? He demonstrated in the Samudra Manthan. When poison was coming out of the churning, Lord Shiva came to the rescue of all the demigods and asuras, and then he took the entire poison in his two palms and he gulped the poison himself. And where did he store it? In the cult. Here he stored. That's why he's also called as Neelakanta. And some other acharyas also explain that he is also Neelakanta because of his immersion in devotional service to Lord Krishna, who is bluish in color. So that is another interpretation. That's why he is also Neelakanta. So therefore, Lord Shiva is a topmost Vaishnava. Just like among the rivers, the topmost river is Ganges. Among the personalities, the topmost person is Lord Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo, vata sarvam pravartate, iti matva bhajante mam, buddha bhava samanvita. And dear devotees, among the scriptures, the topmost scripture is Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Puran, Amala, spotless Puran. So therefore, Lord Shiva is a topmost Vaishnava. So even to think about a topmost Vaishnava or even utter anything against the topmost Vaishnava is considered to be a Vaishnava aparad. And further, in support of Lord Shiva's position as a topmost Vaishnava or topmost Yogi, in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Lord says, Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatenantar atmana sabdavan bhajante yomam samaya yuktatamo mataha. That means of all the yogis, the one who always thinks about me, Krishna says to think about him, or always abides in me and always renders transcendental loving service unto me, he is most intimately united with me. This is my opinion, Krishna says. And Lord Shiva was certainly in that category. So he is the topmost yogi. Let's go back to the Krishna Leela. When Krishna was a baby, what did Nanda Maharaj do? And when Krishna was subject to so many different kind of attacks by demons and all the turbulations, Nanda Maharaj actually prayed to Lord Shiva. He prayed to Lord Shiva for protection of Krishna. Similarly, what did the gopis do? When the gopis aspired to have a husband like Krishna, they prayed to Mahadev, they prayed to Kartiyani Devi. So these are all indications that Lord Shiva's position is supreme. And then to top it all, our Acharya, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, has composed a beautiful pranam mantra for Lord Shiva. And this goes as it. I'll read it now. Vrindavani Pate Jaya Soma Soma Maule Sanadan Maule Sanandana Sanatana Naradeya Naradevya Gopeshwara Vraja Vilasi Yugangri Padme Prema Prayacha Rupadi Prema Prayacha Nirupadi Namaste. So it means Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is addressing Lord Shiva as, O gatekeeper of Vrindavan. In what form? Gopeshwar Mahadev. O Soma, all glories to you. O you whose forehead is decorated with moon, that is Soma, and who is worshipable by the sages, headed by Sanaka, Sananda and Narada. O Gopeshwara, please bestow me the pure love of the lotus feet of Sri Radha Krishna, who performs joyous pastimes in the Brajadam. I offer my obeisances unto you again and again. So this is the position of Lord Shiva. And finally, we have to hear what Lord Shiva says about himself. So in Bhagavatam 4.3.23, which we have already read a few months back, he informs his beautiful wife Sati. When Sati is in dilemma whether to go to attend the sacrifice that is performed by her father Daksha Prajapati. So here Lord Shiva says, Satvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yat Iyate Tatra Puman Apavrata Satve Chatasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo Ayajoksajobe Namasa Vidiyati. That means here he says, I am always engaged in the devotional service of Lord Vasudev, and I am performing Krishna consciousness and in the pure state, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead known as Vasudev is revealed to me without any covering. Okay, so that means when we see Lord Shiva in the meditating pose, what is he meditating upon? He is meditating upon Vasudev, and that state of meditation is called Vasudev, because only in Vasudev state, that is also called as Shuddha Sattva. Okay, Vishuddha Sattva, that means pure consciousness. It is also called as Kaivalya consciousness. So at this stage, when you meditate, you can actually see Paramatma as Vasudev. And the beauty is that in that state, when you see him, it's without any covering. That means you are so pure in consciousness that your free will is now governed by the free will of the Lord. Unlike a conditioned soul whose free will is always misused and his free will is used by himself, and he doesn't give the option to the Lord to control him. Whereas in the pure state, the Lord takes care of the free will. Just, dear devotees, as we will see in the case of two personalities, Ajamil and Haridas Thakur, both were victims of prostitute. But one was in the conditioned state, that is Ajamil, who went to the prostitute, and both were young. At the young age, when this happened, incident happened. So Ajamil got agitated, and therefore he repeatedly went to the prostitute to satisfy his senses, because his free will was governed by himself in the conditioned state. But in the case of Haridas Thakur, being in the pure, in Vasudev state, Vasudev guided him, and as a result, he converted the prostitute who was approaching him into a pure devotee. That is the power of meditation to the Lord. And here, Sri Jiva Goswami also adds that to our gurus or spiritual masters, we add the word Ashtotara. Ashtotara Shata. Ashtotara Shata means 108. We say, Ashtotara Shata. So this Ashtotara Shata as a prefix to a spiritual master also means the same. That is, this spiritual master is in the state of meditating on Vasudev. So he is in the Vasudev state. So therefore, we are always taught that we should not offend. We should follow the path of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who says, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Saishnunam, Amanina Manadena, Kirtanya Sadahari. So when we take up that mood, that we have to become more humbler and tolerant than the grass of the tree, and in that mood we will not offend anybody. And we also see in the pastimes of in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are two important pastimes which we should know, which further explain the importance of or the drawbacks of Vaishnava Aparadha. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord Mahaprabhu advises us to do two things properly. That is, chant the holy name, and then also do not offend the Vaishnava. So there was a pastime of Mahaprabhu in the association of all the devotees at Srivas Angan, which is very famous. And Mahaprabhu immediately went into that mood of trance, Vasudev state. And when he saw the altar of Srivas Prabhu, he immediately jumped into the altar and he kept all the Saligram Shilas on his lap. And in that state, he assumed the form of the Supreme Personality. And then from there, he was, all the devotees assembled could see him as the topmost, Vaishnava, or in the Supreme Personality of God itself. And they were asking for benedictions. Some were saying that please make us a top devotee. Some were saying that please make my neighbors a good devotee, and all that kind of things. But Srivas Prabhu came to him and he said, my dear Lord, can you please make your mother, can you please grant your mother Sachimata Prema Bhakti? Mahaprabhu refused. He said that I cannot do that because she has offended a Vaishnava. Now this is Mahaprabhu who is detaching himself from the son-mother relationship. He is seeing from the vision of the Supreme Personality. So Srivas was very, very upset about it. Then he went and he told Advaita Acharya that this is what Mahaprabhu is saying. So Advaita Acharya was again very upset, and he said, how can Mahaprabhu say that? After all, Sachimata is so pure. She has carried the Lord in her womb, so she is very pure. And thinking about in that state, he went into Vasudeva Sattva state because he is Lord himself, he is Vishnu, and he fainted. Now, Sachimata was observing all this, and she got an opportunity to touch the lotus feet, to take the dust of the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya and apply it on her head. And that is how she begged for forgiveness, if at all there is any forgiveness, because that is what Mahaprabhu believed, that she has offended Advaita Acharya. And when Mahaprabhu came to know of this, he was very elated, and then after that he bestowed her. And there was also another episode, dear devotees, of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami went to Vasudev state, and then he was meditating and he saw the entire the real Vrindavan pastimes between gopis and Radharani being manifested, and they were playing. And then after decorating Radharani, they showed the mirror to Radharani, and to her surprise, she saw that Krishna is standing behind her. So Krishna was hiding, and then in the mirror she saw Krishna. So all the gopis, they laughed loudly. Now because our Srila Rupa Goswami was in the Vasudev state, he was already in that trance, he was already in that state of the Manjari, so he also laughed. Now when he laughed, at that time there was a Vaishnava who was actually approaching him, and the Vaishnava misunderstood that this laugh was directed towards him. So because of that, immediately after that, what happened was, the Vaishnava actually felt offended, and then he went and he informed Sanatana Goswami. And in Rupa Goswami's state, what happened was, whatever he was seeing as the real Vrindavan, that scene stopped. So he felt that he has offended somebody, and he went to Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami asked both of them to forgive each other. So this is the power of aparadh, Vaishnava aparadh. So in conclusion, I want to list 3 or 4 points which are considered to be the lessons that we can learn from this important episode. of Chitraketu. The first is, we must not and we cannot judge a Vaishnava. It is not our business. It is not our prerogative. If we do that, then there is a danger of committing Vaishnava Aparadh. Second thing is, Vaishnava Aparadh is very, very sensitive problem. It's the most sensitive. In technical terms, anybody who has seen the analytical balance and the micro balance, they will see the difference. Analytical balance may have a least count of maybe 1 milligram, but a micro balance has a least count of 1 microgram. That's why it is used to measure, gold particles. So the least count of a micro balance is much more. I mean, in terms of sensitivity, in number it is less. In terms of sensitivity, so our Vaishnava Aparadh is like that. We should know that one small perceived mistake can take us down deeply, and it will commit the first offense of the 10 offenses. That is to on the dust of the lotus feet, and that will lead to the 7th offense, and the 7th offense will make you commit sinful reaction. Radha, His Holiness Radhanath Swami mentions that you should never become the prisoner of your own success. So this is the third lesson we are learning. Prisoner of your own success, meaning when everything is going well, circumstances are very good, at that time you will see that you might become puffed up. At that time you will see that your senses start wandering. When you are in trouble, see, when Chitraketu was in trouble 2 times, he was focused only upon that act. But when he was traveling across the various lokas for billions of years, he was in very comfortable situation. Suddenly the senses wandered and it made him. So we should not be the prisoners of our own senses. And finally, dear devotees, Krishna's plan is inconceivable. Now, what may we see? I'm not going into the subsequent verses, but we'll hear that in the next few verses, that there is a curse by Mother Parvati. So what may we see as a punishment? Krishna's plan is something else. And from that punishment, what good comes out? That is the Krishna's plan, which is inconceivable. So these are the some of the lessons. So this curse, in fact, can turn out to be a boon also. So sorry, I've taken slightly over time, beyond our time of 8:45. But I wanted to convey certain things in a flow. And in that flow, I had to go and convey both the sides of Chitraketu's side as well as the offensive side of it. And I presented my thoughts after going through few scriptures and certain, I heard few classes also of elevated souls, and based on that I am presenting it. If there is anything wrong or anything incorrectly presented, please forgive me. Otherwise, I really feel that in my insignificant way, I have tried to serve all of you. Thank you very much once again. So now I would leave it open for everyone to either ask questions or add some points, add to a discussion and make it even more healthier. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This class, and yeah, if anyone is having any question, they can raise the hand. We have 4 more minutes. Yes, Balramji, please make it short.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. Very nice discussion, and you explained it very nicely. I have a doubt over this, which Shiva it is. So we know there is one Shiva who is the in charge of all Panchabhutas, who is a Vishwanatha. And there is another Shiva who is the Guna avatar of Vishnu. And another Shiva who is a son of Brahma. I guess it is the third one, the son of Brahma, this Shiva they are talking about. So could you explain that? Yeah.
Yes, you are right. This Shiva is the son of Brahma. And we can infer this from the 4th canto, where Daksha Prajapati addresses Shiva as a subordinate. Even though both Daksha Prajapati and Shiva came out of Brahma, so in that sense, they are on equal terms. But because Daksha Prajapati gave his daughter to Shiva, so as a result, he addresses him in the position of in a higher position, or rather, Lord Shiva is in a slightly lower position compared to. That is how it is seen. So this Shiva that we are talking of is the Shiva who actually came from Lord Brahma. You're right.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Our sannyasis may add some points as per their realization, because my realization is very
Maharaja, please.
limited.
Hare Krishna, Shamchandra, everything is going well. That's wonderful, and it's a beautiful. You covered many points: spiritual point, material points, conditioned state, liberated state, and that's wonderful. And when we hear these wonderful episodes, it's a baffling, correct? The great souls, the liberated souls, the ideal souls, we look up to them, and they act very astonishingly. The astonishing, Chitraketu Maharaj is astonished and still honoring. So these things many times happen in our lives also. To judge, it becomes very dangerous then, because what we can see is only half truth, and if we, and not only half truth, but even if we appraise someone very high, it may not be high enough. Right? The position of Lord Shiva, he's Trigunatit, although apparently he's associating with mode of ignorance, but he's Trigunatit, and so no dirt, no malice or lust or whatever can influence him. But still, the consequences which you are referring to, which will happen in Chitraketu. So our purpose, my question also, that this episode, especially the things which are going to happen, and Chitraketu has become a certified devotee who has received the direct mercy of Krishna. So, and if we see someone in a liberated position, if we see someone, then the things which happen on the material platform, we should not become, it takes a great effort not to become astonished by certain things happening in the lives of devotees. And now to come to the point, whether we call them exalted devotees or ordinary devotees, because to judge someone, any devotee as ordinary would be offensive. It would cause the downfall of our consciousness. I want you to make this, how we, please help, how we can protect ourselves. Falling, maybe Chitraketu Maharaj being so blessed by the Lord, he apparently fell trapped to judging, correct? And because he's blessed by Krishna, so from ultimate point of view, he will be more blessed, no doubt about it. But how we protect our situation if something happens as a reaction due to our behavior, or we do something which is not idealistic, correct? On the path of devotional service, how we then handle the situation if we face the, or how we react ultimately would define how advanced or how elevated, how evolved we are. I recall one saying by Bhaktivedanta Thakur where he says, every event is a good event because it leads to next event, and to the next event, and to the next event, which is ultimately good. It's very, very easy for me to just repeat like a parrot what Bhaktivedanta Thakur says. But help me if some not very palatable situations, undesirable situations befall me, help me. How will I handle? How should I handle? How can I apply that instruction of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in my life? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Sorry, there was a disturbance because there was an incoming call which I just disconnected. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Dandat Pranam to you. So, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, the situation is very complex. See, in the material parlance, there is a very famous saying that we all have grown up with. Mind your own business, or do not poke your nose. You know, we have been taught this, but its relevance has not been taught. Okay. Now, I would use that further in the relevance and add to that the knowledge which we are getting from scriptures. So now, for example, Maharaj, if you imagine, two types of seeds. Okay, a seed is a seed. So, in one seed out of the two is a burnt seed, completely burnt. Other seed is a fresh seed. Now, this seed, even though it looks like a seed, the moment it gets a favorable climatic conditions like sunshine, maybe rainwater, proper soil, minerals, fertilizers, etc., it will once again start manifesting in the form of a whatever a plant or that way. Whereas a burned seed, whatever favorable conditions, maybe sunshine, rain, whatever favorable conditions, this seed will not bloom again. So we have to become like this seed, Maharaj, in my opinion. So the way to do that is just follow Guru Tattva teachings, Mahaprabhu's teaching. So this one verse itself is enough. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtanya sadahari. So there are actually so many kings who have ruled Bharatvarsha over several millenniums. But why only few of them find their entry into the scriptures like Bhagavatam? Because through these kings or their acts, we get certain lessons. So as I was summing up, the lessons which we are getting from this is very clear. So adverse situations will be faced by us. The simple thing is we should not react. Now, Lord Shiva did not react. Now, look at Lord Shiva's position here. One may argue that if he wanted, he could have just burnt Chitraketu in no time, just by his glance. But he didn't do it. His own sages who were assembled, they didn't do it. They just smiled. So who reacted? It was Mother Parvati who reacted. And this Mother Parvati is a true representation of Durga Mata, who is the warden of this material world. So, in material world, we are no doubtedly influenced by the modes of nature. So, since we know that, and we also know that the elevated soul, that is people who are in mode of goodness and beyond, which is to the sattva, transcendental goodness, they react in a different way. Our own Guru Maharaj was a live example. I have seen him on different, troublesome situations, how he has faced. Well, I don't even need to read scriptures. I can just think of him, how he faced the situation. Oh, he handled this, no pressure, no. So, like that, if we try to imbibe, then slowly, it's a process, slowly, because at the end of the day, our how many lives karma is there yet to be destroyed, bad karmas yet to be destroyed, we never know. But the fact that if we are surrendering to our spiritual master and through him to their lordships, and we follow the instructions of Mahaprabhu, I think we should be absolutely sure that we are in safe hands. Even if a situation comes, nothing will happen to us. Even if we accidentally fall down, as Rupa Goswami says in nectar of instruction, it should not be considered as an accident fall down. We will be once again, through the mercy of all the Vaishnavas, will be lifted and will be placed back in that position. So this is the only hope for us, and we have. It's not only hope; it's a question of confidence and it's a faith. If we have the faith, if we have the confidence, we will go and achieve a destination. If we are thinking how, if, when, then maybe it will not happen, or maybe it will take time. But yes, it has happened to him. Yes, if I follow my guru, yes, if I do this, yes, it will happen. That nishtha will ultimately, at some stage, will give us the desired results of prema. And that is what we are all aspiring. We want to go back to Goloka, so that we are enjoying the eternal pastimes of the Lordships.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu. Beautiful.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So maybe we can conclude for the day.
So thank you once again, all of you, for giving me your patient hearing, and most importantly, blessing me to utter few words. I'm not qualified, as I said, but please pray so that I can, advance in my spiritual progress to serve our Guru. ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, पतित पावन श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, पतित पावन श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। ताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Grace Shyam Chandra Prabhu ki jai. Thank you all for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class. Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai Jai.